it's interesting. It's digital actions, it's digital experiences creating real emotions, right? Because people are like, oh, it's just Clubhouse. Is it just Clubhouse? Because you're feeling as if it's really real right now. So how digital is it, right? Now, me as someone who is a natural connector, I spent a lot of time in my own personal growth. I really do care about people achieving their purpose and dreams. And in real life, like for the app, I've been like a very blessed like connector, networker, and love creating experiences in my life stuff. I've always been in the mix like that. There's something called the art of interruption. Interrupting people and redirecting them to me is like putting the bowling ball railings on the bowling ball before it goes off the gutter. And if you do it gracefully, people actually appreciate that. Not only the person, but even the room appreciates it because you're creating a container for everybody. So.
Hey, what's up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. Today we are with Mr. Rob. Rob, you know what? I never even asked you how to pronounce your last name.
Fajardo.
How is
Fajardo.
it? Fajardo. All right.
Yeah, the J is silent.
That's what it looks like, but I didn't want to butcher it. We just talked for 10 minutes. Never asked you. We're on Clubhouse talking. Yeah, no doubt.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me, man. I've been spending a lot of time on this Clubhouse thing lately. I see you on there quite a bit, man. What's Clubhouse all about, man?
Yeah, Clubhouse is a live audio only social media app. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I think it's super dope being able to connect with other people real time, hop into different conversations quickly. It's almost like you're hopping into different worlds, different universes, just popping by, and it's been an exciting platform. Awesome to meet people like yourself. How would you describe Clubhouse?
Addicting.
Yeah.
Addictive. Yeah. You know what? I think personally, I think it's an opportunity right now. I think for people that want to, they were talking about this morning in one of the large clubs I'm in, is there's an opportunity for some people that want to go all in on Clubhouse right now, can really use it.
Yeah.
To build their business. And I think that's the way I'm approaching it right now,
Yeah.
So it's cool though. It's fun, man. It's like, I don't know. It's almost like you start to become friends with people, right? Like you wouldn't have expected, but I've got all these people from all over the country that I've never actually met in person. And we communicate on a daily basis, and we DM each other, and we're like modding rooms together, like we're best buds, and we've known each other our whole life. It's wild, man.
I'm gonna let you keep asking me some questions, but that's a question that I've been asking and talking with people about, is like this idea of digital friends versus your real friends, right? So on Clubhouse, you might not have been, with somebody, but relative to your in real life friends, some people have shared more intimate things with their Clubhouse friends that some might say build the foundation of a friendship, but they've never met, versus their real life friends that they should, why haven't we been sharing it? But it's interesting the intimacy that's created on Clubhouse quickly. And I'm curious about what do you think about that? Is it because you can just get to the core of a friendship pretty quickly that people build friendships fast, or do you think it's like performative?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, we've probably been cooped up for so long, a lot of people,
that's what I was thinking too,
to have an app like this where you're just able to kind of connect. And when I first looked at it, I'd love to hear your opinion on this, obviously as well. But when I first looked at it, it didn't make sense to me. I would have thought, well, why am I going to go sit around in a voice only app when I've got, Zoom, and I've got all these other, Facebook and all that. And I just started playing with it, and it's been pretty neat. How about you?
So for me, I've really been leveraging Clubhouse to connect with people I'm hesitant to say like in a deep way, but I want to say in a meaningful way. And I haven't used it for business too much. There have been some awesome people that I've met through Clubhouse that have become friends that I've talked with offline, FaceTime with. Haven't met up with anybody yet, but I have been able to do some business through Clubhouse organically. Like people, can read your bio, obviously, and people who are aligned with what you're doing. So I'm talking to a lot of people who are leaving normal behind, want to live a great life or are living great lives, and want to help the world at the same time, for lack of better words. Just keep it short and sweet. And but I haven't turned it on for business too much. And I actually think because it's so brand new, I think people you gotta have a determination. Like, are you here for a short game? Are you here for the long game? Like, how long do you see yourself here for? Some people are doing things that are not aging well. And now that I've been on the app for a couple months, I'm seeing the rise and fall of people, like tactics that used to work that are not working. And on Clubhouse, it's very hard to fake it versus other social media platforms where you have like videos and photos and things like this. On Clubhouse, the only content is your voice, right? So if you're not present and based on what you're saying and how you're saying it and the tone that you're saying it in, that's basically the content. So, you can have a great time, doing good. But one day you're having a bad day and you bring that day onto Clubhouse, and then you can just really destroy an entire thing that you built just because you said started being wrong, and you slipped up. So it's interesting dynamic for sure. So I haven't used it for business too much, just meeting people and creating meaningful connections and having good conversations, making sure everyone feels included, everyone's voice is heard, everyone has a good time.
I want to jump back to this, but I do want you to introduce yourself. Tell us, what you do, a little bit about your background, and then we'll jump back into a few things that you've created as well.
So my background, so I've been an entrepreneur for about 6 or 7 years. I'm 27 at the time of this podcast. I started I'm hired as a viral marketer, community developer, brand builder, publicist, accelerator, and a writer. I've also spoken on stages. I've been featured in Forbes. I write for outlets like Thrive Global, Addicted to Success, and others. I've worked in influencer agencies with celebrities like Kevin Jonas. I've worked in startup accelerators with multi-million entrepreneurs like Gerard Adams, who sold Elite Daily to the Daily Man for $50 million. My main silver lining through everything I've done, though, however, for the past 6-7 years has been a modern day Renaissance movement called Leave Normal Behind. And the mission of Leave Normal Behind is to raise the collective vibration of humanity by inspiring and helping others to become the best version of themselves, give back, create things that matter, love, and encourage others to do the same. From those values, it acts like a lighthouse that attracts the right ships, and then we work with those people. And it's been super fulfilling over the last 6-7 years. I've traveled around the world. I've spoken with thousands and thousands of people. I've been to amazing places. And it's been really great. So, but it all comes back down to living life with purpose, finding out what your purpose is, and learning how to turn that purpose into something that's profitable, whatever that means for you. And we do our best to help out people that resonate with our values and want to live a leave normal behind type of life, or are already living a leave normal behind type life.
No doubt. So let me ask you this. So with your leave normal behind, how does that connect to Clubhouse? Does Clubhouse feed into that, or is that?
So I haven't turned on Clubhouse in a meaningful way, in a bridge into Leave Normal Behind, because we're actually going through, we're not ready to open up the floodgates into Leave Normal Behind. Leave Normal Behind has been like a closed network, like very organic growth. There's actually been, quite a few people from Clubhouse that have, become members of Leave Normal Behind, who are modern day Renaissance individuals who share these values, and but it hasn't been a concerted effort, and but it will be. Right now, I'm doing more, like I already said, of building deep connections with people. I think that's the most important currency anyways, right? And there's a quote that I learned many years ago from a don't know where I learned this, whether a mentor, advisor, or somewhere just being in the mix, but it's when people buy into you, they buy into everything that you do.
Yeah.
So you don't actually have to worry about like telling people what you do all the time. If you can get them to buy into you anyways, you'll be pretty good. Yeah,
that's solid. I agree with you 100%. You had mentioned that there were some things that people aren't doing well or aren't working. What? So do you have an example of one of those things
on Clubhouse particularly?
Yeah.
Of what they're doing that's
what's
not
not working? Yeah.
Having experiences that create distance, and having and creating rooms that create separation. And an example of this, and for those that might be listening to the podcast and don't know what Clubhouse or like the style of Clubhouse, you have moderators, you have a speaking area, and then you have an audience section where people are just listening, they can't speak. Then you have rooms, and within the rooms, there's a speaking section and a listening section. On stage, which is the speaking section, there's two types of speakers. There's regular speakers who can speak, and then those that are called moderators, who are there to quote unquote moderate the conversation. They're supposed to like help facilitate the experience of the room and create the vibe of the room and facilitate conversation.
The background's got a lot more challenging too loud. Just recently.
Yeah. They just blasted this music. You can probably go outside with just a little. Let me see if.
I'd say just work with it at this point.
Yeah. I'm with it. Yeah,
we'll just be aware of it for people listening. Focus on the content.
The content, not the music,
not the background. Yeah.
maybe they'll be jamming. Who knows? Maybe they'll be like,
yeah, that's a good point. Maybe they can jam out with it. You're right.
Who knows?
All right.
But so I think what some of these people are doing is wrong is like thinking that when you're a moderator, you might be better than other people, and having an approach of like talking at people or talking down to people instead of talking with people. One of the things that kind of irks me sometimes is when a moderator will be like, hey, do you have a question for us? And it's like, not everyone in the world has a question for you. Like, you should be like, what would you like to share? You could probably learn something instead of the audacity to ask everyone like ask you a question.
I like that.
So just like, yeah, take the time to like,
I like that.
Feel the collective knowledge. You'll do a lot better than frame it as like you're the expert versus how can I extract the most out of everyone's collective gold.
Well, one of the reasons I asked you to do this is because I heard you talk about a few people referred to you as Clubhouse 2.0. Why? Yeah. So I think what you just said obviously is an example of that. And before we even get into that, I'm modding at least. I get asked to mod a lot, but I'm actually running at least 2 or 3 rooms a week myself. So I do sometimes deal with the challenges, and I love what you said about what would you like to share, because you're right. Sometimes I'll pose it as, well, do you have a question, comment, or thanks for coming up. Do you have a question, comment, right?
Yeah,
but I think sometimes
you give them all the options.
You see these rooms where they're like, okay, start off with your question, or my question is, and it's just like, it's.
What do you mean? Like,
kind of gets under your skin a little bit, like, and then you got like 30 seconds. It's funny. This happened to me, and I'm going to share it only for people. So I got on the room. I don't know what, somebody invited me up to a stage, and it was a large room, and someone invited me up. I forget. I don't remember who it was. And I got up, and then the guy asked me, the topic was something like to do with limiting beliefs or something.
Right.
So
something you're obviously very qualified about.
Well, yeah, but
it's like,
somebody invited me up, and then it got to me, and I'd listened, and I kind of went internal, and I shared this whole story about my limiting belief, and maybe it was 3 minutes. I mean, it wasn't 3 minutes is a decent amount of time. I get it, but it's not excessively long.
Right.
And then when I was done, I shared like this deep story about like my childhood and how I overcome this, and the guy was like, all right, thank you. And then banged me right down in the audience. I was like,
yeah,
holy
yeah,
cow.
yeah.
Like, I don't think I ever experienced anything like that. It was just like, all right, thank you, bang, into the audience. And I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
damn, it was weird, dude. Like
How did that make you feel? How did that make you
yeah, that's
feel?
what I mean. It made me feel like there's I almost, yeah, like, I don't know. I know who he is. I'm not going to say who he
Yeah.
is, but and he had a lot of people following him too. But, and then,
Right,
so I hung out for a few minutes after. I noticed that's just his style. I don't think
right.
he
That's his style.
even
No, that's his
meant
style.
anything by it, just
No,
his
but I've heard that
style.
a lot. I've heard that a
Yeah.
lot. Like people, they lack empathy. And
Yeah.
so Clubhouse 2.0 is the subculture we've created. It's our own club now, but it spawned a couple weeks ago actually. It's really taken over Clubhouse quickly, and some amazing people, some of the best people on the app have come through the rooms and shared their knowledge and know about it on these Clubhouse streets. And basically what it is a space where people come and share their best practice tips and strategies to create 2.0 experiences on Clubhouse. And that ranges on everything, from how to design magical rooms we've done, self-awareness, like reading the room, being on stage, like, doing business the right way on Clubhouse, the politics of Clubhouse, building trust, like, and we're gonna continue to do more. And it's been amazing. We really created a good space there. My goal is to continue to build that up and develop a strategic partnership with Clubhouse directly, similar to the portals on Snapchat, how they have the discovery channels. I foresee Clubhouse, like, obviously promoting certain rooms and certain experiences, which they're showing with their creator grant program. So by us just dominating that 2.0 space on Clubhouse, hopefully we could develop a partnership with them where they send them, Clubhouse helps send actually people to our rooms to come learn. Because in our rooms, people get equipped with the tools that they can then use in their own rooms. That's the whole point. That's why we're talking about facilitation. We're talking about extracting knowledge. Nobody comes to Clubhouse 2.0 being like, we're an expert. These are my best practice tips and strategies. This is what I've seen. This is what I can contribute. And it's a much better vibe that way. And then people hear it. And then obviously, they go and use that to moderate their own rooms and combat some of these 1.0 experiences, right? Because if you're not having 2.0 experiences, these 1.0 experiences are really devastating. You kind of shrugged it off and laughed, but there's people on Clubhouse that take that really harshly, and it really hurts their mental health. And that's not hypothetical. This is happening real time. There's been rooms about this. People crying, like really feeling devastated on feeling that they overexpose themselves and then being sent down in that way. And obviously, you have the fortitude to withstand that, but not everyone does, right? So these little things. It's interesting. It's digital actions, it's digital experiences creating real emotions, right? Because people are like, oh, it's just Clubhouse. Is it just Clubhouse? Because you're feeling as if it's really real right now. So how digital is it, right? So
it's real. I mean,
I think it's
if
real
you're on there
too. I think
listening, it's real. It's the real deal.
I think it's real.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of people are in there and they want to be heard. Like, there's people in there that need to be heard. I think one of the challenges I deal with is sometimes people just carry on and on and on, and it's like you gotta sometimes jump in and either help redirect them or sometimes just that's a touchy especially as a moderator.
It's difficult. That's what I say is as a moderator, you take on a big responsibility. That's something I had to become more aware of as I started moderating more rooms. You're dealing with all types of personalities. People have all types of experiences. People are bringing all type of energy into the room. You have to navigate that. Sometimes it feels like you're hooping through hurdles. But in my thoughts, it's giving people grace and realizing that some people, and I'm saying this in the most loving way, some people are well-intended, but they haven't spent the time preparing on how to communicate effectively, whether that's their own fault or not, whether they got the education or not, whether they're oppressed or not. There's a lot of variables that go into that. So people on Clubhouse walk into conversations that they're not actually ready or prepared for. Even as a listener, some people don't even know how to listen the right way, quote unquote, without being triggered, charged, interrupting. it takes a lot of grace and emotional intelligence, you know, to navigate Clubhouse, I think, in a very meaningful way. And so I think it's about giving people grace. And I found that if you can interrupt, there's something called the art of interruption. You know, interrupting people and redirecting them, to me, is like putting the bowling ball railings on the bowling ball before it goes off the gutter. And if you do it gracefully, people actually appreciate that. Not only the person, but even the room appreciates it, because you're creating a container for everybody. So yeah, you have to think about all these levels, like when you're moderating a room, for sure.
It's a whole new skill set, you know, that I'm learning here. And I mean, I was a presenter for Keller Williams. I'd go around, teach groups of 100, groups of 1,000, groups, you know, and it's a different set of skills, because there's no engagement. I can't read eye contact. I can't see the room. I can't see what people are doing on the other end. You're getting no
all
feedback.
Metaphysical.
Yeah,
it's like a metaphysical feeling.
Feedback.
It's all tone and delivery, and it's trying to like. Do you ever imagine yourself like as you're next to them? Do you like try to listen to their voice and try to picture who they are? Or how do you, you know, create connection with people when you're just listening to their voice?
That's a really good question, man. You know, I never thought of it that deeply, to be honest with you. I think going forward, I will. Yeah, it's a great question.
What do you like about it? What do you like about the question?
Because it makes me think, it makes me become more aware. It'll make me better of a listener, better of with empathy, which is not something I grew up with. People don't know my. I mean, if you look at my profile, it starts with you know, Phoenix, born from fire, man, born from ash. That's where I come from. That's what my listeners know. You know, but yeah, I love it, and I think getting better, getting more empathetic, listening at a deeper level. I like that. I like what you just said, because it will make me listen and see if I can really see this person talking, hear this person, feel, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Dude, that's what separates me from these other moderators, for real. And I'm saying it with this much certainty only because now at this time it's like that's the feedback that I'm getting so repetitively, and then just for the sake of this podcast, sharing it in a way that people can actually take and use for their own knowledge. That little difference of like, can I actually imagine myself hanging out with this person and having and being authentic, right? I'm not being performative. I'm not using NLP to like change my tone, or you know, because that's fake. People feel that. But if you really can think from your heart and be like, can I imagine myself talking to this person on the phone as my friend? That, I think that's a big difference, that from a 1.0 moderator to a 2.0 moderator. And I think that's what will age well. It's not wide, it's about going deep with people, especially now the algorithm's changing and lowering the visibility on things, which I believe they did personally, because the mission of Clubhouse is to scale intimacy. And I think people were starting to hack the algorithm a little bit and creating environments that were not intimate. A lot of I'm the expert and you're the listener environment, but not what Clubhouse is meant to be, which is like a room with people talking with each other. And I think that they changed the algorithms up to create more intimacy. So now the rooms are smaller again. And with strategies like putting up a ton of moderators, stage squatting, these are things that actually get flagged now and make the room less visible, get them shadow banned.
What's stage squatting?
Stage squatting is when you have a bunch of moderators or people on stage that are just there to either bring in followers or just to use the room for clout, and they don't actually talk. So they're just squatting on stage. Some people will have their whole account, right? You know, some of these people, like, they'll have their account actually on rooms for days they paid. I don't want to say they pay. It's just alliances. I'm cool with building alliances.
No, I know what you're talking
about. I'm cool with alliance building. You know what I mean? So if it works and you're like, hey, I got a job, you take your iPad and you know, some people back in the day would have 2 accounts. They'd have their account going 24 hours a day, just chilling in certain rooms, mindset rooms, business rooms, millionaire rooms. And then the new people come in and out all throughout the 24 hours. They don't know. And then they say, follow all the moderators on stage. And then you'll come up on stage, you know, you do all the strategies, right? And then you grow that way. So, but that's not good. Why? Because now some people have 30, 40, 50, 60,000 followers. They open up a room, nobody hops in. I got 4,000 followers at this time of this. I know I'm going to keep growing on this app because I'm like built for this app basically, but those 4,000 followers, dude, like I'm open up a room. Huge people hop in my rooms. You know, Tiffany Haddish followed me the other day. She got, you know, I think she had the third most followers on the app, and that's not even a big deal. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. It's about people, like, it's not about clout. Only reason why I'm sharing that is it's like Clubhouse is not about how many followers you have. It's about the experiences that you create, and then people will follow you. And then it's like, I have a background in nightlife and promoting. Like when I was 18 to 20, I was like, how, you know, I was born in New Jersey. I came up in New York City. I was like, how do I get in the clubs in New York City with not a fake ID? You got to do promoting. You got to bring the girls and bring the guys that spend money on the bottles. You know, just keep it real. You know, so that whole experience of like, you can invite people to the party, but if the party's not good, you might have served the function of inviting people there, but now people don't want to come back. You know, so it's that two part. You know, you can invite people to the party, but you got to make sure the music's good, the food's there, the vibe's good, people feel welcome. Like. And then that deeper connection, that's what's going to give you the ability to do business in your real estate, you know, sell millions of dollars through Clubhouse in real estate. Why? Because you're connecting with people on a meaningful level. I have some big time investors that started reaching out to me now from on different things, just because they connect with me as a person, they see me as a young entrepreneur. They're like, maybe we can finance some of the things that you're doing, you know? And it's like, that type of dynamic is flipped, right? Usually you have to pitch to somebody. But when somebody can connect with you on a personal level first, now business can come after. That's how my business life has always been, though. Right, we leave normal behind. That's like, we've always done values first, and then if our values align, how can we do business with each other?
Good stuff. I'll tell you one of my favorite questions you asked me. I've learned a lot from this. I appreciate you, man. I was on with Tim Story last week, which was amazing, and Tim agreed to take me on as a personal coaching client after the podcast, which was amazing.
Dope.
You know who Tim is, right? I mean,
yeah, I've seen him around.
Coaches people like with Oprah, and like anyway, he doesn't take on clients. He's like, I'm gonna take you on because we vibe, is what he said.
Hell yeah.
So that's super cool. But that happened because of a room in Clubhouse. Like I followed someone into a room who then into Glenn Lundy, Breakfast of Champions. I followed him into the Breakfast of Champions room. This girl, Amanda. Actually, I think it was William Tong, maybe. Maybe it was William that I followed in there. And then
I know William.
Got him on stage somehow. And Tim was speaking. So then I just raised my hand, asked a question. And then after Tim says, after he's done speaking, listen, I want you to DM me. I want to talk to you. I said, all right. I DM me. He literally called me 10 minutes later.
Oh yeah.
And led to the podcast, and then led to him taking me on as a coach. Like he's like, I don't coach people one-on-one, but I'm gonna take you on because we vibe. I'm like, that's amazing. That happened as a result of being in Clubhouse, right?
What do you hope that he helps you achieve?
Man, you got good questions, dog. You're a good listener. Man, I just have I had a lot of demons, man. That's still there, I think, you know, and I think it's he just said, so like after I hung up with him, man, I just felt like a better human being.
Let's go.
You know, I mean, he told me, you know, he said I remind him of Barack Obama, the way I think as I'm asking questions or before, you know, it's just, he's just a good, solid dude, you know, and I you know, direction, you know, some direction, some clarity. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. First call is next on April 6th, and then
that's dope.
We're scheduled 4 calls. Yeah, thank you, man.
He's a reflection of a part of you, just like you said. You know, he doesn't take it on, so, and that's an awesome comparison to Obama. Like,
well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, how do you, you know, I showed it to my wife, and I watched the video later on my iPad, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so excited for you! Like, this is amazing. Like, it's amazing for us, not just me."
Oh yeah.
I mean, this guy hangs out with, like, you know, it's like, it's just cool, man. You know, it's just cool. It don't matter who he hangs out with. He's a solid dude, but it does in a, you know what I mean? So, but anyway, let me ask you this.
It's good on him, and then it's a reflection on you again, bro. Just saying it to you, David, which is like, it's just like, we all got parts of our shadow to work through. But again, it's just like saying congrats to you putting the work in for that to happen. You know what I mean? It's not an accident. So
Yeah.
It is.
Well, same
Yeah.
thing with this, man. I heard you speak in that room. I don't, I think I've reached out to 3 people in Clubhouse to be on the
Mm.
podcast so far. I don't need, I
Right.
mean, people reach out to me for the podcast now.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
it's
Right.
really, so it's mostly real, a lot of real estate based, or if it's celebrity, like if I had Mel
Hmm.
Robbins
Hmm.
on, Gary, people like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, because I heard you speak and I'm like, all right, man, there's something about this dude. Like he seems to
Let's do
know,
it.
got his shit together. And yeah, it was good. And then you gave me the tip. I think that I don't
Okay.
remember if it was the
Standby mic.
was it it was the standby, yeah, the slow twitch,
The
right,
slow
was
tap.
one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then was it also raising the hands, get people to
Yeah.
raise
Yeah.
their hands
For the polls.
just to say, hey, I'm here, then
Yeah.
turn
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
hand, put your hand, yeah, so we've been using that too. It really
It's been
effective,
working.
super effective. Yeah,
What's it
man.
been feeling
So
like now that you've been using it? Does it
what?
feel like people are? Does it feel like people are more engaged now? Like it feels
Yeah,
like
well,
people are more
yeah,
present.
absolutely. Because you're getting them into some action, right? So now they're getting
Yeah.
used to
Yeah.
pressing the button. So it's going to be a little easier next time, right? And then you're getting them having fun with it. And
Yeah.
we had
Yeah.
one room
Yeah.
the other day. There were probably 60 people in the room. Like
Yeah.
20
Yeah. Yeah.
people or so hit the
Yeah. Yeah.
button. I'm like, all
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
good. So
Yeah. You're like,
I'm
let's
like,
go. Yeah. Hell
like, come
yeah.
on, only 20? Come on. There's like
Yeah.
80 people in this
Yeah.
room,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you get a couple more. So
Yeah.
people are
Yeah. Yeah.
listening, man.
They do listen. Yeah. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
That's
cool.
dope. Take
You
it and run with
said
it.
something you said, and I want to ask you this question, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we're gonna start closing it down.
Wrapping up. Yeah. No problem.
You said this app was built for you.
Okay.
Why
I
why is this app built for
so
you?
I think there's 2 ways to answer it. So I don't think the app's built for me. What I had said is I'm built for the app, but it goes
Okay,
both
fair
ways.
enough. All right, got it.
It goes
Yep.
both ways. But it goes both ways because there are 2 parts of the same coin, right? Like the heads and tails of a quarter. So the way the app is set up is that you have the opportunity to talk to people real time and have an infinite potentiality of where that conversation can go. So that's just like how the app is built. And so when I say it's built for me, is now me as someone who is a natural connector, I spent a lot of time in my own personal growth. I really do care about people achieving their purpose and dreams. And in real life, like for the app, I've been like a very blessed like connector, networker, and love creating experiences in my life stuff. I've always been in the mix like that. So Clubhouse is just a natural progression of doing that more in a digital space where my downfall, like I have 14,000 followers on Instagram, or I've probably 50,000 followers on people that follow me on my other platforms, but that's not like connected, and I don't really create content like that anymore. I created content coming up and I got a bunch of followers. But then I was like, I don't really want to edit all this, there's a barrier, I don't want to create the content and edit it. And, I like when it's real time. So on Clubhouse, the fact that it's real time and there's no post-production time,
Yeah,
that's a major advantage for someone like me, because I'm always off the top, right? Like you asked me questions, we didn't plan this. And hopefully there was some value that somebody took from this conversation. And now I could leave, go do my thing, and this will live somewhere and it will be good. On Clubhouse, that could happen 5 times, 6 times I could hop in a different room in the amount of time on this podcast and said something or did something meaningful or met someone and connected with them, so it's like rapid facilitation of connection, I guess. So I think if you're a good person, this app's built for you. Same with someone like yourself. It's no surprise that Tim Story is connecting with you, because he would have connected with you in real life. The question is, would you guys have been in proximity to connect?
It's a good question. Yeah, it's a good point. Did I mention this? The question that you asked? I think I did. But
Which one?
what do you like about this question?
Like what do I like about this question?
When I asked you, I said that's a good question, and you asked me, what you asked me why? What did I like about you asked me why I said it was a good question.
Why you said it was
that is a dope question right there in itself. Like that's one of the best questions I've ever heard, because people. So I got on stage with Cal Fussman a week and a half ago. You know who Cal Fussman is, right?
No, I
Oh,
never
you
heard
don't
about
know?
him.
Well, look him
No,
up.
tell me
Cal
more.
Fussman.
Right.
Yeah, he's a journalist. He's a long-time journalist, and I was able to get up on stage with him in this massive room, and I had asked him a question, and then I think the moderator was going to just be like, "Okay, thanks," and I was like, "Well, hold on, Kyle, I got a follow-up question."
Yeah.
I don't even remember the question I asked.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, but what ended up happening was Kyle paused, and then he shared a story of when he interviewed Mikhail Gorbachev and how he was in line with a couple dozen reporters all trying to get an interview, and the publicist or whatever, the equivalent for Mikhail came out and said to everybody, "Hey, we just need to let you know we're way behind you. Everybody has 10 minutes, putting a 10-minute timer on it." And he's like, "Oh man, I'm planning on a 30-minute," like they all plan 30-minute interviews. So he said to him, he said, when I got there, he said, the first question I asked him is, "What's the most important thing you learned from your father?" And he said, Mikhail was just like, it just caught him so off guard. Do you even know who Mikhail Gorbachev is?
I've heard of his name, but I'm not like
he's a past Russian president, prime minister, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
So he was said, and then he just went into a conversation and started talking about his dad and all the things he learned. And 20 minutes later, they're still going, and the guy's coming in and he's telling him, "Oh no, we're all set. We're all set." And then he's like, "Come back." And he got the 30-minute interview.
Yeah.
He said the reason he got the 30-minute interview is because of that first question.
Right. Hell yeah.
So
trying to get the underlying thing. I learned that where it's like, have the audacity and the boldness, to bring people there, which is like, when someone's like, "Oh, that was great," or, that happens on Clubhouse a lot, right? People want to answer the question, but that's something Socrates says, right? If you don't, ask big questions, and you get great answers. So if you actually don't ask a question, you don't create a doorway for someone to walk through it, right? So if someone's like, "I really love what you said," well, what'd you love about it?
I love it. That's hardcore. Yeah, well, because you get that all the time. Oh, that's a really good question.
Awesome. You love about it? But say it with a smile, though, because
of course,
But that's where you're able to use your tone and delivery, and because it's a general curiosity. Like when you hear that a lot, well, what'd you love about it? And the truth is, what I found by asking those questions for quite some time now, that next thing, that's where the real value is, and people appreciate it. They get to actually say what it is. It's there. It's more about it uncovering, right? And then if there ever is a case where someone's being performative, then you can know. All right.
They called out. Yeah, true.
I mean, but you didn't call them out. You just asked them what you loved about it. Like,
that's a good point.
You didn't call them out. It's their fault for doing some fake shit in the first place. Like,
amen.
Not my fault.
That's a good. That's good.
Fault.
That's good, man. No, I learned a lot from you today, man. I appreciate you, and I'm glad we did this.
I'm about to hit you with the same question. What'd you learn that's gonna you're gonna take away? No, for real. Like anyone that's
easy, man. That's easy. It's the questions, it's the listening. It's what you said about when somebody's speaking. I think I'm gonna listen to them from a different place now. Of listening to try to really understand where they're coming from with empathy and the question, I like, this is what I learned. My podcast called Path to Mastery.
Right.
Always learning, dude. Always. Like I don't care if I'm a 9th degree black belt. I want to be a 100th degree black belt. Right. So
hell yeah.
Yes, I love it. So I love that question. So when somebody's like, "That's a great question," I'm like, "Amazing, man. What'd you love about it?"
What'd you love about it?
It's just like,
and you'll see the richness of the conversation. You'll really unfold. People want to be led there. I found, and just give them the opportunity to.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Would you say? Trying to think if there's anything we missed. Did I miss any? Did we miss any questions? Did we miss anything?
Dude, I could keep talking to you for as long as you want. I'm like,
I actually have a room. I have a room that's supposed to be starting in 3 minutes. So
perfect.
How do people get in touch with you, man?
People can get in touch with me. So if you're on Clubhouse, just look up Rob Fajardo, ROBFAJARDO. Just type my name on Google. I'm pretty accessible. I got Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Send me a DM. Anyone that's ever wanted to meaningfully get in touch with me has been pretty available to do so.
All right, man. It was super fun. It was nice to meet you.
You
Yeah,
too, man.
keep
Thank you,
pinging me
Dave.
into rooms, man. Sometimes I'm just in other rooms and modding and stuff, or I'm not available. But keep pinging me in, and I'll show up to. I'll definitely show up to your rooms now, man. So I appreciate
Dude,
you.
about what we could co-mod together.
I'd love to, man. Love to. Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'll
Maybe
talk to you
something on
soon.
the path to mastery.
Yeah, let's
That'd
do
be a
it.
good room.
Let's make it a point. Let's connect again soon. All right.
Dope.
All right.
Take
Talk
it
to
easy,
you later,
man.
man. All right. Later, man.